welcome back to the stage, Dina Fidas.
Hey, thanks everybody. How's your morning been? Terrific, terrific. We are so grateful for all of you, the devoted commitment you've got here. Let's also give a round of applause to our incredible partners at Encore, the entire MGM staff. So many people are making this a success. Well, thank you all so much. So, those of us in this work feel extraordinarily privileged to be full-time advocates. And it's also important to note, and we certainly get sobering reminders, that we as advocates don't live in a bubble. Just a few minutes ago, a very dear colleague who lives in Georgia scurried to me, showed me the phone, that the Georgia Senate has passed one of the most comprehensive anti-trans bills in the nation. Usually when we hear omnibus bill, we're thinking proactive, forward momentum in the right direction. This is real, and none of us emerge from this level of attack unscathed. You know, scan the headlines. Some of you have been hearing very much about this in our tracks. Since 2015, the number of anti-LGBTQ+ bills flooding state houses has exceeded 2,000. So in nearly a decade. And something I always want to point out to folks, while the number of bills that actually passed into law is indeed a fraction of that, thankfully, it's a fraction of that because of all of you, because of the ways that you've leveraged your stories inside your companies, because our companies, as fatigued as folks are, as stretched thin as they are, have still found their voice and their might to weigh in on our behalf in the public square. Last year had the dubious distinction of being the most anti-LGBTQ legislative session in US history, with when all was said and done, over 550 anti-LGBTQ bills. It's just about the end of March, and we are already several hundred more in. So even before we get to the number of, well, how many actually became law, think about that for a second. If you are one of the many Gen Zers or the next Gen Alpha, those who are, about 18 or a bit younger, like my own stepchildren, this is the world they're growing up in. And the ways that the adults in their lives, lawmakers, headlines, and more, are talking about them is utterly dehumanizing, and it's devastating. As some of us have been talking about, we just found out in a major national study that of those states that had passed anti-LGBTQ bills, the hate crimes at the school level has quadrupled. So, also in talking to one of our incredible leaders here, she put it so artfully. She said, sometimes we're somewhere between passionate about this work and panicked. And both are true, right? That was a Jen Hendersonism, if anybody wants our amazing Jen Henderson. So it is our job, in partnership with you, and in this case in partnership with one of our extraordinary corporate leaders, Wells Fargo, to pull the lid on this and to actually get into some metrics so that we can be equipped in our change work, not just with our experiences and our stories, not just the hearts and minds, but the business consequences of these bills. So if I may ask there we go. So we set out, who here was at Summit in Florida? Excellent, so perhaps you remember, it was a long, beautiful night, but we talked about folks filling out our Talent on the Move survey because we wanted to measure the direct impact on individual LGBTQ+ employees or those who have family members who are LGBTQ+. One of the fastest growing major stakeholder groups in corporate America are parents of trans and non-binary kids. We wanted to then go from the individual level to this more macro level. What is the business cost of anti-LGBTQ+ legislation? We are so happy that hundreds of businesses have joined the fight, and many will vocalize this as standing on the right side of history. Well, to those skeptics or those just stretched thin wondering, as sad as these bills are, is there really a business cost? We needed to actually measure that. And as we know, what gets measured gets managed, in other words, acted upon. And now lastly, of course, and I'm gonna, after showing you some of this data, call up Jean Marie Navetta to really facilitate with us how we can take some of the learnings as to what is the path forward, what can businesses do to drive inclusion and belonging in the face of these public policy shifts. And so that doesn't, it's not an A to B as in there are bad bills out in the world, your only option is to speak out on the bills. There are a number of other things that companies can and should do to care for our community. So today, this morning, it hit the wires. Hopefully you all get your LinkedIn updates and everything else from Mountain Equal. Talent on the move, where do we go from here? LGBTQ plus talent mobility and business considerations amidst a shifting legislative landscape. So sometimes the work of social research is putting metrics or data behind something that, and it's okay to say this, is a bit of what we call no-duh analysis, but we still need the analysis because, as we know, our C-suites need to see the data in hand. This is staggering, staggering, staggering. 9 in 10 respondents feel that LGBTQ plus equality has worsened in the last year. Nearly half of our respondents of LGBTQ and also allied employees across the United States, nearly half feel less safe in their home state because of changes in the legislative landscape. And a third have considered relocation. As you'll see in the report, and what do we know, the trio of considerations that nearly every C-suite leader wants to talk about: attraction and retention of talent and a diverse, productive workforce. These anti-LGBT bills cut at the core of that. Now, as I mentioned, we've seen the impact at the school level. Well, what happens when grade school bullies get business cards or get their first job? Well, apparently their bullying doesn't let up. And we found that about 1 in 4 LGBTQ plus folks across the country, even in the litigious environment, we think, oh, everybody's had basic training, that doesn't happen here. Not the case. 1 in 4 report hearing jokes about the LGBT community in their places of work. A very, very sobering data point here: the vast majority of those jokes are about trans people specifically. This is unconscionable. Now, even for those companies that are sort of doing the right thing, they've got the right policies in place, we would think we then have a vehicle. We can at least talk to our leaders and say, look, you may not know this about me, but my 15-year-old has come out as non-binary, and we're seriously having to look to move out of our state. Well, 40% of respondents do not feel comfortable even broaching that topic with their direct supervisors. And you can pull from that, and it's in the report, the ongoing anguish, stress, mental health, and well-being effects of all of this. To be suffering, sometimes in isolation, whether individually or on behalf of a family member, and then to not even be able to trust the workplace culture that, yes, I can confide, I can go to my supervisor and talk these issues through. And nearly 4 in 5 of respondents have reported that absolutely anti-LGBTQ laws would affect whether they relocate for a job or not. As so many of you know, when we were rallying the business community from HB2 to Indiana and almost every state in between, yes, we framed it in terms of the human right to safety and well-being and the reputational damage done to a state that passes these bills. But we also know, even for our friends and nearly allies, maybe they stumble on our alphabet, the LGBTQ, BLT, but what they can understand is you might have a senior executive in California who you're trying to bring to one of the states with one of these bills on the books, and unbeknownst to you, that person is the parent of a trans kid, or that person's partner has transitioned or identifies as non-binary or needs medical care that's now been criminalized in that state. That flies in the face of the nimbleness that businesses have traditionally enjoyed in this country when it comes to moving around their own people. You could even arguably sort of you could bracket the LGBTQ part for a moment and say this is literally infringing on the ability of businesses to invest, to move their people, to make smart choices. So we're not here to make an exclusive pitch around public policy. We do know that reputationally and in terms of what your people need, your stakeholders, not just your employees, but many of your shareholders want to see a level of public commitment. 7 in 10 of our respondents did not feel that their company, in fact, responded sufficiently. You know, some of you are nodding. We have had a fair amount of success in this space, mobilizing our businesses. And again, I've been in the dialogues with you, as has the team. We know folks are tired. We know that you can't believe you're getting another phone call on another coalition or another state on the precipice of passing a terrible bill. Well, we see on the flip side of that, no one's happy. You know, as much as you have ask fatigue, your LGBTQ employees have attack fatigue. We're tired. We're tired of seeing our lives dehumanized, seeing our families dehumanized, and we expect more of the companies and the workplaces at which we've given so much. We give so much of our time and our talents, and I think for many of our respondents, they're looking for a little more of that back. They want to know, if I give you my 110%, do you have my back? Now, when we got a little more brass tacks with our respondents, because again, it's not that public policy engagement is the exclusive avenue of support. We looked at some other, common sense best practices, but common sense best practices that are still not universal or consistent. So, a little over half saying, yes, we need more remote work options. We need more flexible work. As much as we're seeing some CEOs in this country say, oh, everybody back in the office, well, what if that is now your danger zone, if you will? What if you were able to move in with a relative in a safer state, and now the call's been put out that you've got to show up in Jacksonville or in another city that now no longer feels safe to you or your family? We've also seen that individuals want support for out-of-state health insurance benefits. And that's not just unique to trans non-binary folks, it's also come up in the context of reproductive health. And then we're also seeing a lot of our respondents, a lot of the members of our community have this really practical approach. It's like, hey, we know you can't fix everything, but let's ensure that there's a vehicle in our EAPs. A lot of us at some point in our careers depend on the EAP to navigate a challenging situation, and now is the moment to educate your vendors, educate your HR teams that this is real. And before I bring up Jean Marie, what I would suggest to each of you, because I always wonder, what can we each do? Maybe I'm not in government affairs, or maybe I'm not in HR. And my ask, my challenge to you is to, following this event, tell someone about this topic. Forward this report, tell them about this topic, because if we are proactive in naming and articulating the challenges that our community is facing, you are effectively breaking the silence that some of these respondents who are too scared to talk, too scared to approach their supervisors, you're actually breaking that silence for them. And folks will continue to come to you as an ally, as a source of support and knowledge. So, sorry to be the one with all this sobering news. It is real, though. It is real. As much as I think, maybe some of you have heard me say this, one of my favorite expressions, some moments, sometimes, some people will break your heart and others will put the heart back in you. And so, as heartbreaking and sobering as this data is, we know we've got each other. We know we have smart strategies, and we also know we have optimistic, energetic leaders like Jean Marie who will put the heart back in all of us. So let's bring up Jean Marie.
That was a lot. I've been doing, I was telling a group earlier that I was talking to, I'm going to put my phone down for 1 second. that I've been doing this work professionally in the LGBTQ movement for about 20 years, and I always genuinely believed that we were moving forward, that movement always would look forward. And it is very scary to realize that is the opposite of what is happening right now. And I think about, I'm established, I know who I am, I have the safety of working for an organization like Out and Equal. Many of us are in organizations that are doing their best to protect us. But I think, what must it be like for those young people who are coming up now, whose lens was so much more inclusive just a few years ago, and then to experience this? While Dina was talking, I have to admit, I actually was reading about the Georgia Bell. And it is expansive, it is aggressive, and it is attacking people at multiple levels. So I want to talk about how we can have some conversations and turn those conversations into action. Because it's not good enough for us to just talk about it in the safety of this room. We have got to take it outside. And so I want to elevate, first of all, Dina's challenge, which is, I want you all to think right now about, I'm going to raise it up, two people with whom you are going to share the report that we released. And then even better, don't just be like, read this number. I know you love your numbers, Dee, but still. I want you to tell them what it means to you. If you are somebody who is feeling scared, I want you to say it. If you are somebody who's sitting there and is like, I do not have the resources to pack up and move somewhere else, because that is a privilege that not all of us have, I want you to say it. If you are somebody who is scared to death for what is happening to your kid every single day when they go to school, I want you to say it. And then I want you to take it a step further, and I want you to ask people to do something about it. Even if the ask is, I just need you to look at this, and then I need you to ask me some questions. We have got to put ourselves out there. So I'm going to ask you all to have some discussions at your table. And that is part of the reason I have my phone, but there's also some Menti coming up. I know you all have your phones in your hands, so get ready. I need to see the screen. Can I see if I am at my slide now? So the question that we have up here for you is, how are you going to prepare yourself for the challenges ahead of us? So I'm going to give you about 10 minutes. And I want you to have that conversation at your table, because even if you are not here in the United States, you know that these challenges exist everywhere. We export a lot of good things. We also export a lot of scary stuff. And we are exporting this right now. So I want you to have that conversation. I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to do this. And when we get to the end of that, I'm going to have a second challenge for you. But I want you to say specific things, not I'm going to think about this. Here's what I'm going to do. I want you to reclaim the power they are trying to take away from us. And that should be reflected in your conversations. And if somebody sounds like they're struggling, I want you to help them find their power. All right, even I can do the math on this. I'm going to come back to you in about 10 minutes, and I'm going to ask you to tell me a little bit about what happened. So go. Okay, everybody. If you could wrap up those conversations, I want to hear from you. If you can hear me, give me a clap right now, please. I just wanted you to give me an ovation, but it worked too. Okay, so here's what I would love. I have asked you how you are going to prepare yourselves for the challenges ahead of us. My colleague, Jen Nugent. Jen, where are you? There is Jen. They're back there. Jen has a microphone. Here is what I want us to do a little bit of sharing on, because we've got some time, and I just decided that we're going to try this out, and let's hope it works, because, you know, first time. So I want some people to start giving Jen a wave, and here is what you are going to do for me. I'm going to prepare myself by. And I want you to tell us. And I'm going to actually start with my example. And it's actually very out of character for me. I'm going to prepare myself by finally being willing to ask for help, which is not something I do. I like to imagine myself like the superhero. I'm very Jean Grey. I can kill you with my brain. But I don't ask for help, and I am beginning to understand I can't do this alone. So let's get some hands up so Jen can come to you. And Jen is going to do some running. I can see some people, and I want to hear how you are going to prepare yourself.
Hi, my name is Julie Rasfeld, she, her. I'm with GE Aerospace. And a way that I am going to prepare myself and the company, we currently have a travel alert system that already connects with when you're planning travel to a new location, and there might be something political that you should be aware of, or like a safety risk in that area. They'll send out an email to you just to make you aware, and I'm going to connect with our response center to make sure that these issues are also considered.
That is awesome. And that is an action, and that is going to have impact. Who else?
Hi, my name is Cortland Russell. I use he, him pronouns. I'm with Accenture. I'm going to prepare myself by changing the way that I talk about trans issues with our senior leadership team and focusing a little bit less on here's a litany of our ERG priorities and focus more on personal conversations and helping them to change their mindset around this community.
Excellent. You are changing your strategy. Who else?
Hi, my name is Erica Prentice. I'm with Advantage Solutions. And we kind of talked at our table about protecting ourselves, our mental health, choosing our battles, making sure that when we go into battle, we're prepared, and recognizing that we don't have to fight every battle. And the other part of that, too, and we said maybe we need to do a little bit more of this here, is celebrating our wins.
Yes. Absolutely. Who else has got something for us? This was like 400 conversations. I need to see more hands.
Hello, everyone. My name is Janice Underwood, she, her. For those with a visual disability, I'm an African-American woman with brown, gray hair. And my team and my table is fired up. And the one thing that we all have committed to doing is to building coalitions and connections cross companies and thinking about doing this not alone and in a silo, because many of our companies and organizations, they stand out by themselves, they're vulnerable, but we're more powerful together. And how can we do things like the AMA, the American Medical Association, just did this week, where they got like 15, 20 organizations to sign on to a statement that says, hey, we are supporting DEI and all these anti-LGBTQ attacks and anti-DEI laws that are popping up. And they got so many people to sign on. But what we are interested in thinking about doing is building these stronger coalitions together. So now we have like 4 or 5 companies that we're trying to strategize on how we support each other, even after we leave here this week.
Excellent. And it's happening after we leave here this week. It can't just stay here. Thank you. There is strength in numbers. Who else has got something?
Hi, I'm Alejandro La Luz. I work for RTX in the D&I office. My pronouns are he, him. And something that we're going to be working with is our security team for the organization. We have a program, right, a structure within RTX that works with employees and taking them out of dangerous places, like when Russia situation happened, right? They pulled them out and they relocated. So we're going to be working with them to understand what the thresholds are to define when an employee needs to be relocated and when not, but also tapping our Pride group into that conversation to define where that threshold should lie. So it's understanding, but also redefining.
Excellent, which means that we are communicating, we are asking what people need, we are not assuming, we are going to people, and then we are taking action on it. Excellent. Who else has got something?
Hi, my name is Erica Rebecca Belshaus. I use any pronouns. I have a background in education, so I'm really passionate about education. And I have started this whole weekend thinking about how I can plan to work with our learning and development teams and diversity and inclusion teams to rethink how we teach diversity and why diversity is important and what it actually is. Because I think there's a lack of understanding of it currently. So,
redefining things. What are you hearing here? We are hearing individual actions, and we are hearing people change systems, contributing ways to change the systems. The only way we actually create change is when we change the system that we have to be in. It's not just us, but this is it, and these are steps towards it. What else do we have here?
Hi, Jill Jensen, JP Morgan Chase, she, her. And we discussed at our table that we have to take this to the business and not make this an HR thing within our companies.
It's not just an HR thing, and it's not just a DEIB thing. It is a business thing. Absolutely. Let me get one more person. Do we have one more person? Oh, there's somebody waving like crazy over there. That is a passionate wave.
Hello, Angel Medina, Dell Technologies, he, him. I'm actually traveling from Panama. Hey, J. Marie. I'm actually traveling from Panama, and so that resonated, the last part that you said resonated a lot to me when you mentioned that think beyond how you can import and export a lot of these ideas, and I'm definitely thinking a lot of this. The way that I'm preparing myself is understanding that I'm not alone, and I'm building an army with me.
Yes.
I'm taking all this knowledge, taking all this information, and I'm taking them to a place or a region where we don't have a room full of people that knows how to defend themselves. I'm building that room. I'm bringing the people in the room, and I'm bringing everything so they can be educated, they can have all the information to join me in this fight, to join me in this conversation. That's what I'm doing.
Gracias, Angel. That's power. This is what power looks like. This is exactly what power looks like. And we can be the scariest form of power possible because we are people who will dare try to change those systems that are right now not necessarily benefiting us. And we are the people who can do it sometimes for those who can't do it on their own right now. We need to build our rooms. We need to fill the rooms, and then we need to change the way those rooms look moving forward. So with that, I need to get back to the next slide. Can somebody bring that up? Or can I just do that? Okay, so everyone, I know you have your phones out. If anybody can get a picture of me with my mouth not open, I'd love that. I want you to scan the Menti code. You know how to do this. Click the little heart thing or thumbs up or whatever, thumbs up. You know you can change that to a cat if you want to. So let's start seeing some of the thumbs ups. Are we functional? Are people getting in? Are people getting in or no? The thumbs up won't thumbs up?
It looks like it might actually be stalled.
Oh.
Because it's not showing up there.
For some reason, our Menti is not working, which means I'm going to have to get really creative right now. Okay. Okay. We're going to do this at your tables because I don't have a Menti to make a beautiful word cloud for you because something is going wrong and things happen, but you know what? Nobody knows better how to roll than we do. At your tables, I want you to share one word with the people at your table about the kind of energy that you are bringing back when we leave this room, when you leave this hotel, when you get on your planes and trains and cars home to face these challenges. Start saying those words. I want this room loud. Come on. Is Jen still with me? Some people, I want to see some hands up. Jin's going to come over with the mic. What words are you saying?
Hi.
Dígame.
Oh.
What is your word?
The word, so I was actually thinking perseverance. That's persevere, that's what it is.
Perseverance. Give me more words over here. Who else has stuff? Every one of you is having this conversation.
Determined.
You are determined. What other words do we have?
Bold.
Bold. What else?
Unapologetic.
Unapologetic.
Relentless.
Relentless.
Fired up.
Fired up. What else? Come on.
Infectious.
Infectious.
Hopeful.
Hopeful. Jen is getting their steps in.
Cavalry.
Woo! We're building a war room with the cavalry behind us. What else?
Courageous.
Courageous. Come on.
I said unapologetic, but somebody took it.
We are doubly unapologetic.
Fierce.
Fierce.
Unwavering.
Unwavering.
Intentional.
Intentional.
Tenacious.
Tenacious.
Active doing.
Active doing.
Audacious.
Audacious.
Limitless.
Limitless.
I'm going to help translate.
You're going to help translate the stuff. Yeah. I know all of you have words. Sorry?
Brave.
Brave.
Oh, well, I was going to say courageous, brave.
Driven.
Driven. Over here.
Creative, and I really enjoyed the pudding, so I'm going to say pudding as well.
Confidence. Confidence.
Confidence.
Unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
Resilient, which was his word.
Resilient, which you might have taken from someone else, but it still works.
Relentless.
Relentless. Let me get maybe two more.
Bold.
Bold. One more.
I'll steal you.
Conviction.
You've got conviction, so listen to these words. None of these words said scared. None of them were timid. None of them were backing down. All of them actually were doubling down on where we are right now. This is the energy we have. This is what we need to own. I was thinking as we were doing all these activities, I was thinking back to the Harvey Milk speech where he said, I've come here to recruit you. I am here to recruit you into this fight. If you have been on the sidelines a little, if you weren't sure if this policy thing was for you, it is for you. It is about all of us. And it is about all of those words, brave, courageous, relentless, unstoppable, tenacious, that we are going to bring back. Don't let it stop when you leave the hotel at the end of this. Bring it home with you, because this is how we change the world. Thank you.
All right, how about that? Everyone fired up? Everyone fired up? Well, thank you to Dina and Jean Marie and to our partners at Wells Fargo in particular for the Talent on the Move research. It's such a great example, I think, of using research to our collective success and to the power of partnership with us, with each other. I think we've learned that over the past couple days as well, is that we're much stronger together than we are individually. So, a big round of applause for all of our speakers. This is the end of this so far. This is our last plenary. And to all of you for showing up, right? And I mean that physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of it. To share with open minds, open hearts, open your expertise, your experience, and willing to do the hard work and have those conversations to progress the progress that we seek. So, as you head to your final session, it will be at 1:45. There are a few suggestions, remarks that I want to share with you, just a few announcements. So one, in each of your sessions, hopefully you got on your app, you got a survey about the individual session. Please use those and fill them out and complete them. You will also get a survey about Leadership Forum. And really, that makes it all better for us. It makes it better for you as we continue to evolve what Leadership Forum is. So really, your feedback is critical for us. If we could throw up, I think there is a slide. Hooray, all right. So you don't have to wait until Summit to engage with Out and Equal. We are coming to hopefully a city, a country near you. So first, I wanted to showcase the global forums. We have a Latin American forum taking place in Sao Paulo on May 9th, a Southern States forum that takes place on June 6th in Atlanta, and an APAC forum in Bangalore, India on July 16th. So get involved, get engaged, and really we hope to see many of you or your colleagues at these events. The next slide shows a little bit of a roadshow that we have planned for June. June is Pride Month in many cities across this country, and we are coming to a city near you. We're coming to Atlanta, we're coming to New York, and we're coming to Seattle. And hopefully, if we get our way, a few more. Just if everyone tonight could run by Aaron and just say, oh, come to our city, that would be great. But also, we have built in now some networking for you all after your next track session, then there's some downtime. A disco nap, networking, whatever y'all need to do, no worries, refresh, get ready to shine at our Momentum reception, which starts tonight at 6 p.m. So we're excited to celebrate you all. You won't want to miss the fun and surprises in store this evening as we light up the night, and you'll hear more about what that means. But we will see you all on the dance floor later tonight. Have a great afternoon.